Welcome back to Game On, and to celebrate the new year, Bungie have let us spend all the money we don't have on incremental updates on Destiny.
Whee! Well, it's not entirely true, but a leaked photo from an internal Bungie meeting did show off a kind of content plan for expansions that runs through likely until sort of early 2016. And in that there were small things like the Dark Below and the upcoming House of Wolves expansions, and then there were big ones like this Comet expansion, and it's probably a load of wicked sweet new sort of cloaks and hats.
That's great if, like us, you've been having all sorts of fun playing Destiny, but it does leave us wondering, how much more money are we actually going to invest in this game?
Kind of like a lazy black market kidney salesman who cuts it out and then just sells it back to you when you wake up going, do you need a kidney? Yeah, I do actually. But actually, the thing is, that's not the issue, because game manufacturing is a business, it's not exactly a humanitarian effort.
The issue with things like Destiny is that you think that you've bought the full experience at launch, but every new expansion is being woven into the fabric of the game to such a degree that you can't afford to play without it. And you can't necessarily afford to play it either. It's basically a tax, but unlike Starbucks, you've actually got to pay it.
Bungie have even set the weekly and daily strikes and missions to be those in the expansion, essentially locking out anyone who doesn't own the Dark Below from content that they already technically own.
The expansion pass for Destiny, which gets you the Dark Below and the upcoming House of Wolves expansion, costs £35 on PSN, so it's safe to assume that the rest of them will cost that much going forward, which means that just by next year, Destiny will have cost you over £100.
Again, the issue here isn't the price. If you don't want it, you just don't have to buy it. But the problem here is the lack of transparency and the predatory nature of the business model that hides the actual cost of this game, which is kind of unacceptable in a world that is mostly in recession.
When Activision and Bungie said that Destiny was a property that was intended to last for 10 years, they didn't also say that they'd be siphoning money from our bank accounts at a steady rate just to keep us competitive in the multiplayer or leveled up in the single-player missions.
Again, the price is not really the issue here, it's the culture. Gaming companies are big businesses, and obviously they are being run by big business people.
At Activision alone, you've got execs that used to work at Avon, Bacardi, private investment firms, private equity firms, even basketball. But then you've got Robert Kotick, the only gamer in the boardroom really, and even he was quoted as saying that they should be creating franchises that can be exploited over long periods of time.
Destiny is kind of the first attempt to marry the boxed first-person shooter release like Call of Duty with something more nebulous like an MMO. It's doing this both in terms of gameplay and business model, so you're paying one-off payment to get the release, but then also by the time you've bought every single expansion, you may as well have just had a subscription. The problem with this is that by the time that Bungie finish their 10-year plan, you're going to have spent about £600 on Destiny, which is the equivalent of loads of money.